tactic that a lot of money abusers use. Financial abuse is a tactic that a lot of money abusers use to, gain control and manipulate people. And this often occurs in, many instances. This can occur in, intimate relationships. It can occur in, family, parent-child relationships. It can occur in friendships. It could even occur on your job. Okay? Anywhere or any place that somebody's being used, or again, their kindness is taken for weakness, is basically a form of financial abuse. If this is the first time you're joining me, my name is Mel. This is Team U Finance, where we talk about, leveling up. We talk about self-motivation, and we also talk about, financial gain, improvement. So let's get into it. So financial abuse is a topic that a lot of people don't really, I'm not going to say they don't address it, but it's not something that is readily placed on the table. A lot of people tend to blame others or blame situations where, they've been abused financially because they really don't know that they're being abused financially. So I'm going to talk about, a few instances or a few cases where financial abuse takes place today. So the first one that I'm going to address is, of course, the intimate relationships, whether it could be your spouse, your significant other. And this is where, you and the person are in a relationship or a marriage or what have you, and money is being used to abuse you. And, a lot of people say that abuse, or a lot of people think that abuse is just something physical. And you might say to yourself, how can you abuse somebody with money, or how can money abuse you? Oh, it can happen. And how does the abuse start? Well, the abuse starts, again, when you're in that relationship and you think you have a partner, and you and the partner are supposed to be building together, but yet it's like you're not seeing the dollars coming into the relationship or into the home fairly. Money's being allocated somewhere else, or money's being squandered. Or before they give you money, it becomes, it becomes a fight, or something terrible is happening because, again, because they have a lot of more money than you, or because you're supposed to bring their part, they abuse it. And when they start to abuse you, whether, be it emotionally or even, God forbid, sometimes physical because of money, that is a way for them to distract, to basically not bring the money into the relationship or the home. And it occurs with people all the time. And hence, a lot of people, or a lot of couples, fight over money, right? The abuser basically uses money to manipulate the relationship. In other words, you're at their mercy for them to contribute or for them to give you anything. That is one form of financial abuse. Okay? Please comment, like, subscribe, and share if this information is relevant, or, you can benefit from it. Again, this is Team U Finance. Please subscribe. But as I was saying, with financial abuse, it's something that happens a lot of time, and people don't even know what's happening to them, or they don't address it. Hi, Tina. Another instance that financial abuse occurs is basically, in friendships. And it goes to the saying, don't take my kindness for weakness. So you and the person are friends, or you're with a group of friends, and it's always where, if you guys are going out to do something, or you're going to an activity together, you're going to hang out. And for some reason, the person always finds a way to, manipulate you into paying the bill, or manipulate you into, covering their expense, and so forth. And they do it in such a subtle way that you don't even realize. Mind you, you kind of peep that it's happening, but in your mind, you're like, well, I can't really believe this because, this person's supposed to be my friend, or, we're a friend group. But again, or if they don't, expect everything to fall on you, they always want for you to pay for them. And, you dare not ask back for that money because they'll say, oh, I thought we were friends, and so forth. They realize that you're a kind person, and because they realize that you're kind, they're taking your kindness for weakness. That is a form of abuse, because you... Hi, Alberto. Thank you for joining us. Please comment, like, subscribe, and share.
Please comment. Thank you. Please subscribe.
Are essentially putting somebody in a position where they're being manipulated and you're taking advantage of their kindness. Again, abuse doesn't always have to be physical. Abusers abuse in different ways. And in this case, we're talking about when people abuse people with money. And it's not a nice thing to do. Because at the end of the day, everybody needs a dollar to spend. And so if you're going to abuse me or manipulate me into wasting or using my money while you sit on yours, then again, you're not for me, you're against me. So that's how financial abuse occurs in friendships. They constantly play on your emotions. They know you're kind, and they always expect you to do financial favors for them.
Hi, Jeffrey. Thank you for joining me. Ruby, let me get you off my live. Thank you so much. Let me block you off my live. Okay. Thank you. Have a good evening. Anybody that comes on my live that's rude, you instantly get blocked or removed. No, thank you. Thank you so much, Le Mans. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate the support. Please stay tuned. We're talking tonight about financial abuse and we're talking about saving. Okay? This is Le Mans Racer. Thank you so much for the support. Appreciate it. As I said, anybody that comes on my live and they're rude, you're going to be timed out or blocked instantly. So don't even waste your time. Nobody's forcing you to join. You don't like it, drop off. That's fine. I don't care. Now let's continue talking about financial abuse. Hi, Tina. I got you already. Thank you so much for supporting the live. If you haven't already, please comment, like, or, I don't know if you could share it, but please comment. We're talking about when people take advantage of people with money. It's a big topic. Hit the like button, please. Hit the like. Help get this content across, okay? Thank you so much. Now let me continue. Let's continue with how financial abuse happens. All right.
Do financial favors for them. And what is ironic is that if the tables are turned, they would never be there for you. And because you're self-sufficient, you never ask anybody to help you financially. Or even if you do, it's only once in a while. So again, these people know that you're self-sufficient. They know you're doing well. And this is why they constantly take advantage of you. And they use the manipulation tactic to abuse your finances. Another way that financial abuse occurs, and this often happens, with the parents, with the families. And let me explain what I mean by that. As children, when we're being raised, or even if we're, teenagers, whatever, at a certain age, as we're growing and we're coming up, there's things that we need to do. Whether be, you want to attend a certain institution, you want to buy a car, whatever it is, you want to invest in something, you want to participate in an activity. And many times when we go to our parents, they don't do it. They don't give it to us. They don't help us. They'd rather sit and watch us struggle and suffer. And, when you ask them to help you, they'll say, oh, I don't have it. But it's not financial abuse because your parents didn't have it. It's financial abuse when that parent has it. And for some strange reason, they want you to struggle. They don't want to make it easy for you. Their whole take is that, you know what? Well, when I was coming up, I had to struggle for everything that I have. I had to grow. Nobody gave me anything. So because nobody gave me anything, I'm going to have to let you work for everything. But my whole take on that is that if you've been blessed, if God has blessed you through your hard work to achieve, and you have your kid or your family member that's trying to level up and you're not helping them, then that's a form of abuse. It's not something nice. It's not something that, that should be done to anybody. So this is where you see the abuse in the home. So financial abusers are not only in intimate relationships with a partner. Financial abusers are, in relationships, as I said. Financial abusers are in friendships, and financial abusers are in parent and children relationships. Anybody, whether it be a friend, your significant other, your parent, that want you to struggle or make you struggle or be at their mercy, make you beg when they're in a position to help you, That's not good. That is just cruel. And so when you realize, or if you recognize that you're being financially abused, this is where leveling up, or, self-motivation pushes you up to change that. You're going to break that cycle. Because remember, a lot of the people that abuse you is because they were abused. This is what they know. They were abused. They were treated bad. They didn't have any financial support of any form. And so essentially what ends up happening is that they take that out on you. But at the end of the day, this is where you're going to differentiate and you're going to move along, and you're not going to even continue with this. You're going to break the cycle. And the first way to break that cycle is literally by having a come up. How do you break the financial abuse cycle? You start doing you. I talk about doing you in so many of my videos. I say take care of you. I say level up. I tell you, I say self-care. I say do all of these things. I say get your mind right. Because that is the first part of breaking financial abuse. When your mind is right and you recognize that you were abused, or you're in the journey of being financially abused, you got to break that cycle. Once you break that cycle, it's time for you to level up and get your growth. Okay? We level up. We basically, we get our jobs, we get our training. Although, we might go out there and work our 9-to-5 jobs, we still got to have faith. We still got to pray. We got to get a little bit of help. Those are the first factors in getting yourself financially fit. We have to learn to break the cycle. Not because you were financially abused. It doesn't mean that you should, continue being an abuser or let somebody keep abusing you. Break the cycle. Don't let it happen to you, or don't let it continue, or don't expand on something that was done to you that wasn't good. So that's just my take on financial abuse. Financial abuse is a real issue, and it's an issue that needs to be addressed and has not been addressed. And I just really feel really passionate about it. And I believe, even through this channel, that it is something that can be addressed and that can be challenged. This is Financial Abuse Part 2. My name is Mel. If this is the first time you're joining me, I ask you, to just be patient with us as we get started. I wanted to go into a topic on a video that I recently posted about financial abuse. So I'll just, wait a few seconds to see, who comes on the live. And from there, we could start talking. I don't want to, sit here just talking to myself. Right. So what I did is I literally, made a list of some things that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to extend deeper on the video that I made the other day. That's, on my channel right now that I uploaded. The name of the video that I made, the first one, is called Just Financial Abuse. So this is the part 2 to the first one, which was just financial abuse. All right. So let me start by saying that I had a person, not sure if it was a gentleman or a lady, comment in the video. They said that, when I introduced the topic, they said they have never heard of this before. They never heard of this one. I guess they never heard of financial abuse. And I was a little, not stunned, but I was a little taken aback because financial abuse is something that exists, but a lot of people really don't talk about it. I guess it's the elephant in the room. A lot of people don't want to go into details about it. And I thought it would have been a good topic to address. So let me start by saying that financial abuse is basically when you're being abused, with the use of money, or, money's not being allocated, or any type of help or assistance not being allocated to you properly. So as a result, it's a form of abuse because you're not being treated the way you should be treated properly. You're not given the funds or the money to live how you need to live or to acquire certain things in life. That's exactly, what financial abuse is. And so in the first video, I talked about 3 specific parts of financial abuse, or 3 places where it occurs. I had mentioned the intimate relationship, the relationship with your significant other. I also talked about the friendship, having friends. And I also talked about, the parent-child or the children and the parent relationship where financial abuse also occurs. So the first one that I really want to dive into right now is, hi Jacob Ray, thank you for joining me. Really appreciate the support. The first one that, thank you Tristan for joining me. Hi Tiger, thank you so much for joining me. Hi Real Life, thank you for joining me. The first one that I want to talk about is the intimate relationship. And although I addressed it in that prior video, and once this live is done, I'm going to link that video to this live. Once this video goes public, I'm going to link it to this live so you could actually see what the part one is, because this is where the part two is coming from. So, hi Sabi Man. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate your support. So right now, what I'm doing is, for those of you that are just joining me, I'm literally going into the three topics that I've mentioned, or the three parts of financial abuse where it's really strong. In the first video, I mentioned that it could also occur at your place of employment, but for content's sake and for video sake, I focus on the three main ones. And so I talked about intimate, friendship, and parent-child. So let's get into it. So the intimate relationship is basically, with your partner, right? Your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your significant other, doesn't matter. Somebody that you're sharing a relationship with. And most times in the intimate relationship or the personal relationship, non-business, maybe you're in a marriage, or, you guys live together, or there's something going on where money is being transpired or supposed to be transpired between both of you. Does it really happen all the time? No. So this is where the subject of the financial abuse comes in. Okay. So if you're in a relationship with a partner, and let's say, for example, you're living with a partner, you and them both are supposed to be contributing to that relationship financially. You're supposed to be contributing to the household. But this is where the issue and the problem comes in. This is where the abuse comes in. It comes in where maybe one partner is bringing more to the table than the other partner. And we're not saying that both partners have to equally come in or put the same amount of money into the household, because you can't put what you don't have or what you're not making, right? But it becomes a form of abuse when the other partner is making money and they're not putting it in the house fairly. In other words, let me give you an example. The money is going out, it's going elsewhere. Now, the money could be going to maybe another person that they have an interest in. The money could be going into other investments. Okay? So we don't know exactly where that money is going. Now, when the other partner is asking for that money or asking to, contribute to the household or to the relationship, the person that's not allocating the money properly is offended. And most times, rather than being offended, they purposely continue to withhold money. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining. They purposely continue to withhold money. Withholding money from your partner or from within the household or that relationship, that's a form of abuse, because you're basically making the person suffer. You're making the person sweat. And if it's supposed to be a partnership, why would anybody want to do that to their partner? So this is where financial abuse comes in the intimate relationship. And because, the finances are not being, divvied equally, or it's not fair, this is where conflict arises. Okay? So you got the couples that are fighting every day over money. They're having issues. A lot of people start lying. They're doing things that they're not supposed to be doing with the money rather than cooperating. And as a result, you're not growing. You can't grow. The person that you're supposed to be with or you're with is not growing either. So at the end of the day, it's a lose-lose for everybody. Now, the person who's not contributing properly, or the person who's the abuser, they might have reasons or an ulterior motive as to why they're doing what they're doing. But we're not really concerned with the ulterior motive of why people do what they do. The point of the matter is that it's a form of disrespect, and it's also a form of financial abuse. And those are just some of the ways that it occurs in the intimate relationship. Now, people might say, oh, you always got to put something up for a rainy day. You always got to do something else. Of course, there's nothing wrong with having something separate for a rainy day. But what is wrong is that your partner or whoever you're intimate with, that person is struggling while you're in a better position to help the person. And they're struggling because you're not allocating the money properly. You're not giving them what they're supposed to get. They're bringing what they're bringing to the table, which is not enough, but you're not bringing enough of what you're supposed to bring to the table. It's unfair. So, that's how I really wanted to extend on how the intimate relationship is affected by financial abuse. All right. The next one that I wanted to address is the friendship. So, friendship is something that I think a person has to decide on who is near and dear to them. Okay? And Dustin, thank you for joining me. I appreciate your support. Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel, for joining me. Friendship is something that you decide if the person is really a friend or if they're friends. So let's talk about how financial abuse occurs with friendships. First example, let's say, you have a friend that you guys always go out, you guys always hang out together, and so forth. Every single time you and the person go out, you're footing the bill. Person always has other expectations from you. They're always borrowing from you. They're always promising that if you pay, they're gonna pay back, or they can say to you, "Oh, listen, you know what? You cover me. I'll cash up or Venmo you later." But the funny part about it is that even though you pay for them, they never cash up or Venmo you back because it wasn't their intention to actually give you back the money. That is again a form of abuse. They're taking your kindness for weakness. They're taking advantage of you. What is ironic about those friends is that if you were to be down and you needed a little bit of help, they probably wouldn't do it for you. And you see that because every time when you're going out with that friend never has any money. They're never able to help. They're never able to contribute. So that's a clear sign that this person is only using you. They're using you and they're taking your kindness for weakness. Okay? So at this point, maybe you're interested in keeping that friendship. Maybe you have a very special connection with that friend. And this could be any friend. Somebody that you just met yesterday, could be a childhood friend, anyone for that matter. Or where, you're always doing for that friend financially or other aspects too, and they never can do anything for you. They can never spend a dollar on you, or they can never spend a dollar with you. Okay? But they always want from you, they always take from you. We don't need to have people like those around or deal with people like those that absolutely have no interest in helping us to grow. They just want to tear us down and take everything away from us. Again, that's a form of financial abuse. Thank you, Tiger. I appreciate your support. That's a form of financial abuse. And a lot of people, might look at it and say, oh, that's a phony friend. That's a fake friend. This has nothing to do with fake or phony. This has everything to do with your money. And at this point, if your money, again, is, if your money or your dollars is not regarded, then that person is not your friend. So we don't want to waste time on people. Ayala, thank you for joining. We don't want to waste time on people that just always try to take or rob our money from us. And when I say rob, I'm not talking about, literally, sticking somebody up to rob them. A lot of people that manipulate you and take your kindness for weakness, they come off being very friendly. It's like in the intimate relationship, you're with somebody and you think you're having a partnership and you're building a partnership with a person, but in reality, that person is not building with you. Because first of all, if they're not bringing that money into the home or they're not bringing money into the relationship, that person is not working with you 100%. They're just there for the long haul and they're trying to get whatever they can get. So as I was saying, back to the friendship, this is a regular friendship between people. You're the one that's always coming out your pocket. That person is not with you. It's like their money's too good to spend with you. And from the moment you pick up those red flags that the person has no interest in working with you or building with you or even spending with you, and so forth, what's the point? You're wasting your time trying to build with that person or trying to build that friendship. It's not a two-way street, or it's not a 50-50. More so, it's a 90-10. You're putting 90%, the person's putting 10%. And the 10% that the person is putting in is just the fact that they think you're so blessed to just be their friend. They believe that their presence is good enough. They believe that their presence is good enough. They don't need to put anything extra into that friendship. Anything extra involves spending their money with you or on you. They're not doing that for you. You have to understand, a lot of people, when they're in, whether it be relationships, they're in friendships, whatever the case may be, they feel that just being in your presence is good enough. They don't feel that they have to go above and beyond. They don't feel they have to do anything extra, because at that point, they're doing you a favor by being your friend or working with you. But this is where you have to have your self-esteem up, where you recognize and realize that you don't really need any type of friends like that, where you need to be validated by those types of people. It can't be it can't be like, again, as I said before, a 90-10 relationship or 100-0, where you're giving 100% and they're just giving you 0. That doesn't work for you. You're not being fairly treated, and there's no compensation on their part towards you. So that's just the way financial abuse occurs. And if you see me looking down, I literally made a list of the things that I wanted to go into. So as I'm looking down, I'm looking at my notebook, and I'm giving myself little checks about what I'm going through, parts that I wanted to touch. So the next one that I want to dive into is basically the parent-child relationship. Right. Now that's a touchy one, because again, as I said before, with the form of, financial abuse, excuse me, I'm a little thirsty. With the form of financial abuse, a lot of people tend to think that it's only in intimate relationships, where money has to definitely come in. But you have it where, thank you, Chewy, for joining us. Thank you. Appreciate the support. You have it where it occurs, within families. It occurs in non-intimate relationships, and it occurs in, non-friendships. It occurs in a parent-child or parent-children relationship. So let's really dig into this one, how this occurs with the parent-child or the parent and the children relationship. So, depending on our backgrounds and our cultures and what we're taught, it doesn't matter what part of the world you're at. Our parents are supposed to love us and nurture us and try to, help us grow physically, literally, figuratively, doesn't matter. Mentally, any way you look at it, our parents are supposed to help us grow. But many times that's not the case. You might have a parent that, how can I say, they're giving you something, but they're not really giving you your all. They're not giving you their all, not your all. They're not giving you 100%. It's like they're giving you little crumbs of the relationship that they're supposed to build with you. And all abusers, whether it's the intimate abuser, the friendship abuser, or the parent abuser, an abuser is an abuser. It doesn't matter. Once you're in any type of a relationship with any of the three that I mentioned, and they're not giving you their all, it's a form of abuse and neglect, because they know, or you possibly figured it out, that they're not giving you 100%. As Chewy said on the live, always 100%. I agree with him or her 100%. Okay? If you're dealing with anybody, they can't give you 100%. That person is not for you, or that relationship is not for you. That form of, getting together, that's not for you. They're not with you. So let's go back to the parent-child relationship. So, as I said, our parents are supposed to nurture us. Our parents are supposed to be in our corners. Our parents are supposed to do things to make us grow. Our parents are not supposed to tear us down. They're not supposed to sit there and watch us struggle. Okay? They're not supposed to sit up there and watch you go through hoops and loops when they can help you to do things. And listen, and it's not just when you're a small child, even as an adult, because everybody needs a helping hand. Everybody needs some type of help at some point in their life. And if you have a parent or parents that can help you and they're not helping you, then obviously, that is also a form of financial abuse. Yes, it is. Because in my opinion, it's like that parent or that family, they want to see you suffer. And this goes back, to the adage, and I mentioned it in the prior video, I'm going to mention it again, that a lot of these parents that financially abuse their children, this goes back to what they know. Okay? This becomes the elephant in the room. A lot of people don't want to hear it. This goes back to what they dealt with. So they were financially abused, they were treated badly by their parents, and so they continue the cycle. Now, are they purposely continuing the cycle? Probably not. But you have to understand that is what they know. That is what they dealt with. That is what they grew up with, or that is what they learned. And so, because they learned those things, they tend to want to continue those things. Now, I don't believe that a lot of these people continue with it on purpose, but you do have one and two people that purposely, do, malicious things to people. Okay? Sitting up there and seeing your child suffer and struggle, that is not a form of love. I don't think that as your child I should have to prove to you that I deserve for you to help me. The funny thing is, you the child that's yearning for that love or for that validation from the parent, you probably go 100% for that parent. You do anything that they want, because remember, in your mind, depending again on your upbringing, your culture, that parent means everything to you. And so you want to please the parent. And if you please the parent, you believe that the parent's going to love you and the parent's going to, ensure your growth. And it goes two ways. You have the parent that was financially abused before, and they decided and said, listen, I'm not going to financially abuse my child or my children because it was done to me. It wasn't good. Okay. I'm going to break the cycle. I'm going to break that generational curse. I'm not going to let it continue. But then on the flip side, you have the parent that, was financially abused, was hurt, was traumatized by it, and they decided that they were going to continue with the financial abuse. It's as if they end up disliking their own children. Because if you genuinely cared for your child or for your children, you would not let something that happened how many decades or eons ago continue to be a cycle. You wouldn't recycle and do or put on the table what was done to you before. You wouldn't want to do that. You'd want to ensure that you break that generational curse or that cycle of the financial abuse. And again, as I've said, abuse comes in many different ways. Many different ways. It's done a lot of times by the people that are closest to us. It continues because we don't think that the people that we love and that are dear to us would actually do it to us. Is when you actually wake up and you said to yourself, you're like, really? This is what I put up with. This is what I was living with. This is what I dealt with. This is what I owe. This is what I continued living with for years. You probably feel bad and you look at yourself and say, okay, why did I even let that continue? I'll tell you why you let it continue. I'll tell you why you let it go on. This continued and went on because chances are you didn't know when it was happening to you. You didn't know that this form of abuse or this type of cycle was being done to you. You didn't know. And because you didn't know, you continued to let it happen, let it go on. But now you're more aware, you know better, and you're doing better. And because you know better, you're essentially going to break that cycle. You're never going to let this cycle continue. You're never going to let it happen. Right? So the three that I mentioned, for those of you just joining me, the three that I mentioned, I talked about financial abuse in an intimate relationship, with a partner or spouse, your significant other. I talked about it in friendship, in having your friends and watching and seeing how your friends treat you, knowing if you're being unfairly treated, or the biggest one, if the friend is just using you when it comes to, having that relationship or for money, the person just using you for money. And let me just piggyback on one thing again about the friendship. And again, whether intimate, friendship, or even parent child, the abusers use people in different ways. On the friendship level, when they're using you, maybe you're a person that, likes to be around a lot of people and they realize that. And so, again, this is where they take your kindness for weakness. It's something, unfortunate, that is done to people all the time. People realize that you're vulnerable. They realize, or sometimes based on the things that you tell them about you, and maybe you had, a bad instance or a bad situation with another friend, they basically prey on that. Whatever you told these people about you before, they use it to manipulate you. Okay? And this is why, and as I've said on previous videos that I've done before, you can't let people manipulate you. This nonsense of going and telling people your business. Another one of my videos again. Hi, Norma. How are you? Another instance of, telling people your business. It doesn't work in your favor, because the same things that you tell people about you, these are the things that people use again or against you to manipulate you. Right. And any form of manipulation, those things kind of, they change your mindset. They put a fog over you. They put a fog over everything that you're doing. So again, the first thing I tell people is that you got to get your mind right. So the next part of this live, I want to talk about how to overcome, the three parts of the financial abuse that I mentioned. Okay. So I'm going to start with the intimate relationship. So what are some ways to basically overcome financial abuse in an intimate relationship? So, you're with your partner. Again, as I said, everybody's supposed to, you and the person's supposed to be bringing 100%, but the person is not bringing 100%. So what do you think you need to do for you to get that 100%? Well, they say when I was growing up, you could lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. What does that mean? That you could talk to the person, you could complain, you could rant, you could say whatever, but doesn't mean that the person's gonna, take your ranting or your complaint into consideration. So what you have to do is you have to, even though you're in that relationship, you got to start building for yourself. Okay. Now, if you're in that intimate relationship and you are dependent on that person that's financially abusing you, you have to find a way to start bringing your income to the table. Okay. You have to bring your own money to the table. You have to literally set your goals of what you want to do. You got to make yourself better. So, for example, if you're not in a job that pays you as well, maybe you seek to get some type of training. Because why I'm even suggesting getting some type of training, or even, getting a different career path, or find alternate ways to make money. I'm sure at this point you've already spoken with your partner about, the lack of financial support, or what's troubling in the relationship, and they're not bringing it to you. They're not bringing the money on the table. So this is why everybody needs to be independent. Everybody needs to have their own. Everybody needs to be self-sufficient. Chances are, and many times, people financially abuse you because you're not self-sufficient. They know you're codependent on them. They know you need them, especially on the intimate relationship side. They know, you're looking for that love and that yearning. And so you probably do anything to get that love or that validation from that person. So again, this is where they abuse it. They take your kindness for weakness. So in order for you to break free or break away from that, you literally have to, as I said, build your own, get your own thing going. You continue trying to work with the person. Yes, because nobody's telling you to walk away. I mean, who knows how many years you've built or what you're trying to build. But at the same time, hi, Lala, thank you for joining me. At the same time, you have to have your own. You have to be self-sufficient, because let me tell you, in life, when you have your own, when you don't need people, you don't need to count on anyone, nobody could abuse you anymore. Nobody can treat you bad. Okay? I don't care if it's your partner, if your friend, it's your parent. When you don't have to count on them or depend on them anymore, they can't continually tell you no, and they can't keep treating you bad. Okay? They can't keep treating you bad. And so what I realized, and And again, these things that I say, these are from personal experiences. There are things that I've experienced in my own life, and there's things that I've seen growing up and being an adult. These things that I'm saying, these are not textbook materials. These are real world experiences. These aren't things, this isn't vicarious living. I'm not living through somebody. I'm not putting, somebody's life out. I'm talking about what I've seen, what I've experienced, and what I've learned over the years. I'm talking about what I had to do to build myself and make myself strong. Right. So I've gotten to a point in my life where when I realize any form of abuse, financial, emotional, mental, any type of abuse, I leave it alone. I find that I look for ways and things to level me up. And this is what people need to do. You got to find a way how to level yourself up to break away from that chain. Okay? Breaking away from that chain does not, tell you that you need to confront the person that treated you bad or the abuser. You're wasting your time. What you should invest your time on or in is getting yourself to another level where you don't need to deal with the abuser. That's it. Anything that bothers you or took away from you, the best way to deal with it and get over that is to get better. Once you get better, at times you don't even remember when you were suffering. You don't remember when you were down. And whoever that was abusing you or treating you badly before, whoever was withholding funds from you, that didn't want to see you grow, you don't even care again because you've gotten to a different level. Things are better now. Okay? So that's just some of the ways that I think in the intimate relationship you can, prevent or stop financial abuse. Start getting your coins, your dollars together. And the funny thing is, in the intimate relationship, some people are so terrible. They know they're abusing you. And if you seek or sought out to, get better or do better or start leveling up your money, it's going to turn into an argument because remember, they don't want you to grow. They like that you're depending on them. They like that you're a codependent. They like that you need them. They like that they could tell you no. They like that they could, continue abusing you. Okay? What is ironic about it is that although that intimate person or that partner is abusing you, you, the good person, because you're empathetic, you think it's going to get better. You keep doing for them. You keep trying to get them to see your point of view. You're wasting your time. I wouldn't even do that. If it's me, as I said, I would just work on leveling myself up. Hopefully in the end, they'll see it from your point of view and they'll change and they'll start doing things better. That's our goal. But the first thing I would do is worry about me. Change me. And, I know it's something to do with music, but I remember Michael Jackson said, you got to start with the man in the mirror. You got to start with yourself. Because once you're right, nobody could ever make you wrong again. All right? This is your own self-worth. This is you putting yourself first. So that's some of the ways that you could change, that form of, financial abuse or disrespect in the intimate relationship. So as far as, getting rid of or fixing, the friendship when it comes to financial abuse, I just think that if you have a friend that is just not in your corner, you just got to cut the cord. You just got to let it go. If it's a friend, if it's a person you think is near and dear to you, you can, speak to them. You can let them know how you feel. But many times, people, when they're doing wrong, they know they're doing wrong. They're not waiting for you to confront them. They don't want to be confronted. Okay? They want you to do two things. Either leave, stop dealing with it, or they want you to stay there and continue taking the disrespect or the abuse. Now, again, this goes back to your self-worth. If you're in a friendship or a relationship and it's always you putting the first foot forward and they're not putting any foot forward, what's the point? It's a lose-lose situation for you. There's nothing for you to gain. In everything in life, I don't care what it is, there's got to be something in it for you. Now, I'll give you an example. When you show up to your day job, everybody knows how hard it is to get up and go to work. I'll tell you this, it's a hard job. It's a job in itself to get up and go to your job. And it wouldn't even make sense if you got up and went to work every single day and you didn't get a check. That's why you're there. That's what's in it for you. What's in it for you is literally going to make your money so you could have a better quality of life. So it's like the friendship. If you have that friendship and you're the one doing all the calling, you're the one doing all the spending, you're the one doing all the traveling, it's not worth it. You're losing. You're not gaining anything. Okay? This is where you got to pick yourself up and go. Either choose, better friends, or choose different friends, or choose no friends. In one of my videos, I made a video and I said in the video that I have no friends. And I know when that video came out, I've had people say to me that I know personally, said, what type of video is that? Like, what are you trying to say? And I wasn't saying anything. I was talking about myself. As I said before in this live, everything that I say in these videos or on this live, this is real world experiences. This is what it is. Okay? These are things that I've seen, things that I've lived, things that I've seen, with other people and so forth. Things that I've read about. It's real world. This isn't coming out of a textbook. All right? So that's how it works, with friendships. Choose wisely, choose better. You don't need to struggle in a friendship. You don't need to struggle with somebody for them to respect you and treat you fairly, because they know what they're doing. But the reason why they continue doing what they're doing is because you are putting up with it. You're allowing it to happen. So when I made a video and I said I have no friends, what I was saying basically is, yes, I know people and I talk to people and, I socialize with people, but I don't spend my time or waste my time with friends or people that's not in my corner. I have no time for that. Life is too short and precious for me to waste time with people that don't even want to be around me or don't want to, lift me up or make me feel good. You're wasting my time when you do that. Again, if you go on my channel, check out one of my videos. I made another video about stop wasting time. Stop trying to, get back what you lost yesterday. If you lost something yesterday or you lose a friendship today, forget about it. Move on. There's a better friend. There's somebody different out there for you. Stop wasting your time on people or relationships that don't benefit you. Because at the end of the day, these people are not going to change. They don't want to change. They don't have to change because you're still letting them waste your time. Okay? All right. So, how to stop the financial abuse. Let's talk about with the parent and the child relationship, how to stop that abuse. First thing the child has to get independent. The children have to get independent. Getting independent entails getting your life together. What does that mean? That you got to get your job right. You got to learn how to put your own money up. You got to stop calling your parents day in and day out. Okay? Because you can call your parents 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, but after a while, parent or not, they're tired of you. They're sick of you. They don't want to help you. Okay? They don't want to help you. You have some parents where they will help you at certain points, but at certain points, they stop. They stop helping you because they feel like you're not self-sufficient. They feel like you're not trying to grow. Because you know that the parent is always there, you tend to want to always run to them. It's not every single time that you're having a financial issue or difficulty, you got to run to your parent. Remember, your parents was not a parent before they became your parent. And so they also had to learn how to grow. Okay? And the most important thing is when you always run to your parents, I don't care how close you think you are to your parents, you're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing yourself at the end of the day. You're at their mercy. Like I said, they'll treat you good 1, 2, 3, or 4 times, but after a while, you're a burden. They're annoyed. They don't want to deal with you. Okay? And I don't care, parent, spouse, friend. Why would you let anybody, have that over you? Why? Why would you let anybody treat you like that? And listen, whether it's the intimate, the friendship, or the parent-child relationship, the rejection hurts the same way. The financial abuse or the disrespect is the same way. Because a lot of us, when we hear that word no, it automatically kills our ego. We start to feel bad. Now, you done ran to your partner, you ran to your friend, and even your parent, and you poured your heart out and they listened, in terms of the intimate relationship, maybe you live with this person. They know your bills and they're in a position to help you and they don't help you. What was the point of you even saying that? Hell, if the light got to get cut off, let it cut off. Sometimes you got to take action. Sometimes you got to let certain things happen for people to see and realize that, hey, you need to wake up, you need to help. But verbally always asking people for help does not always work. It doesn't work, and it's only an embarrassment to you. Okay? Running and complaining to the friend, that's supposed to be in your corner, they're laughing at you. They're looking down on you. And chances are they're tired. They're tired of probably lending you. They're tired of helping you. Or sometimes it's a friend that never helped you at all. But although the friend never helped you, you keep pouring out your distress to the person. Well, if they never bought you a drink, they never bought you a soda, they never spent $1 with you, they could never do anything for you, what makes you think that when you go and you bring your problem to them that they're going to care? You're wasting your time. Learn to keep things to yourself. Learn to deal with things on your own. You don't have to let people know when you're having a bad day. Because in life, listen, we probably have bad days every other day. You try your best to get your mind right. You try to smile. And trust you me, once your mind is right, some little things that would have bothered you before, it doesn't bother you. Because now you're in control of you. I always tell people, I even tell my own children, I say, listen, you're in control of you. You can't control what the next person does. A lot of times people disappoint us because we have certain expectations of them and we think that they're supposed to behave a certain way and they're supposed to act a certain way. And when they don't, we're angry, we're upset. Why would you put so much emphasis on somebody doing what you want them to do? Worry about you, worry about your feelings. Everybody knows how to behave, but some people choose not to behave. They choose to act funny, they choose to act different. You don't have to deal with that. You don't have to deal with that type of disrespect or even that type of abuse, especially when it comes to money. Okay? Now let's move back again to the parent-child relationship. Sometimes when you go to your parent for help, you have parents that will watch you struggle. They get a kick out of watching you struggle. Okay? They get a kick out of watching you struggle. I don't know, maybe because they struggled, they want you to continue struggling. So what you have to do is, like I said, you got to get your stuff together. All right? You don't always have to let them know what's going on with you. It's a waste of your time and it's a waste of their time. Okay? At the beginning of the live, I talked about generational curse. Now, generational curse goes specifically in the family. Okay? That's where the issue of money comes in with generational curse. And so with generational curse, we basically want to break the poverty mindset, right? We want to break it. We want to break the poverty mindset. We want to change how we see money. We want to change how we view money. Okay? If you're not willing to look at how, money was being allocated before in your family or the line, you're not going to get better. You're not going to get better. It's going to be the same thing day in and day out. It's going to continue going on like that. All right? You have to break the cycle. And the first place that you break the cycle in the parent-child relationship is you stop depending on your parents. Because I got news for you. Some of our parents don't want to help us. Some of our parents don't want us to grow. They don't want us to level up. They don't want us to be better than them. They don't. And that's a hard truth, and that's a hard reality that a lot of us have to learn to deal with. Okay? We have to learn to deal with that and accept that. But how do you break the cycle? You break that cycle by, again, like I said, not depending on them. If you have your own children, you break that generational curse, you break that cycle. Don't let what happened to you, don't bring it to somebody else. Right. So let's just talk about how, to finally break the financial abuse in the three aspects that I gave you. Let's talk about how to finally break it in the intimate, the friendship, and the parent-child relationship. The first thing that I tell people to do, I said, get your mind right. Okay, so how do we get our mind right? Well, first thing I think to do to get your mind right is like you got to stop dealing with situations and people that just confuse you or cause chaos, that take up your mental space on things that are irrelevant to you. All right, that's what you have to do. After you get your mind right, if you're not making the money that you're supposed to be making, right, you got to look at ways that you can make the money, that you can level up. Okay, so we have the good old-fashioned ways. We have where you can get training. I always emphasize on training in school. Again, not everybody has to sit in a college all day or in a classroom all day to make their money. It doesn't really matter. Okay? Whether you want to go 4 years, you want to go 7 years, you want to take a 6 months course, it doesn't matter. But the point of the matter is that it's like you have to get yourself trained. Okay? You get yourself enrolled in something that's demanding, that's going to allow you to make some money. Right? That's the second way. Get your skills up. Another way that people, basically make their money is, they do investments. You think that you're one that could be good on the stock market, you consult a stockbroker, professional financial advisor, have them help you to enroll, to buy some stocks. Okay? Those are some ways that we can basically break the pattern of generational curse and or financial abuse. When you start making your money, people won't be able to abuse you anymore. Okay? They won't be able to take advantage. They won't be able to take your kindness for weakness. And I also want to add, with the financial abusers, whether the intimate one, the friendships, or the parent and child, a lot of them, they will have you working for them, doing things for them. At the end of the day, when you've helped to build them, they don't remember you. They don't. It's like, you're married to someone, person is going to school, studying to be an attorney. Once they become an attorney, they don't want to see you. You done cooked how many meals, you done helped them study, prepped. They don't want to deal with you. Because at that point, you're not on their level. So that's why I said the time that you sit there wasting building other people up, build yourself up. Control you, worry about you. Now, some of us build people up out of love. I get it. But who you're loving doesn't love you, obviously. You don't send that person to school, they became, some, big shot attorney, but I'm just giving an example. And at the end of the day, instead of coming back and spending the money with you, they go spend the money with somebody else that didn't even help them write a paper, that didn't even listen to them or help them study. That's how the intimate partner does it some of the time. They use you. And because they know you love them, they take your kindness for weakness. The friendship, same thing. When you could have been doing something on your weekend, you took your weekends out to spend time with that friend. Now that this friend has leveled up, or, things are going better for that friend, they're making their money. Now they're not spending $1 with you. They're going to spend their money with new friends. Friends that were never there when they were going to school or getting their training done. That's what people do. They use you at the time. And the funny thing is, you don't know you're going to be used. Same thing with the parent. You work for the parent for years. Parent finishes, starts making their money. Parent don't spend their money with you. Okay? They either give it to other children that never did anything for them, because in every family, there's more, 2, 3, 4, 5 kids, what have you. There's always that one child that is always yearning for the love. And there's always another child or other children that barely care about the parent, doesn't do anything for the parent or with the parent, but it doesn't matter. That's who the parent rewards after, they've had a come up, or, you done sat there and worked for the parent. And you only work for the parent because, again, it was love, and you wanted to ensure, that the parent succeeded, because you figure if your parent's doing well, you're going to do well. And they're going to reciprocate the same love. It doesn't work like that. Okay? Doesn't work like that. People Again, they have to do things or work on things that benefits them. In the video that I told you that I was going to link after, I also talked about, that financial abuse can sometimes occur, like in our places of employment. And, what does that mean? It's like, okay, you're working for somebody. A lot of times when you're working for people, and I'm not talking about like professional corporations, could be doing a little side job for people or whatever it is. People work you, they don't pay you. Okay? They don't pay you, they don't give you your money. And so when you got to chase them, you got to waste all sorts of time getting lawyers, going to court to try to get your money. That's a form of financial abuse. They abuse your time. They took it when you could have been working out there with somebody else where you're getting paid. You get what I'm saying? And they knew from the door, from the jump, that they were never going to pay you. But that was the game. That was the game. People always, look for people that they can use or they could take their kindness for weakness. And that's not something that, that we should do. So this live, again, it was from a gentleman that made a comment that he had never heard of this topic before. And I think everyone knows about financial abuse. Either it happened to you, or you saw it happen to someone, or it's something that you probably read about, or you've even talked about. But again, I know a lot of topics or a lot of things make people feel funny. Okay? A lot of topics make the hairs on people's back go up. It's like some people don't want to hear it. They don't want to deal with it. I don't know why. Anything, I think that has to, to do with money and getting better with money. I'm interested. I want to know. At the point when I decided that I wanted to, have a come up or level up, I'm still growing. I would never sit here and lie and tell you that I'm rich. Far from it. But, I have my peace. I feel that I've seen better days and so forth from the experiences that I've lived and so forth, and the experiences that, not the experiences, but the lessons that I've learned on my own and looking at others. I feel that I've grown. And that is my hope and dream, because at the end of the day, me sitting up here saying, try to grow, try to change, it doesn't matter until you start doing it, until you start executing it. But the funny thing is, when I believe that I started to grow, I didn't know when I was growing, if that makes any sense. Is later, when I started seeing results and I said, oh, I made this change or I made that change. So now I know for sure that these are the things that are working for me. Right. And that's another thing too. When you're trying to make changes and you're trying to grow, I believe that you just have to just basically do things on your own. You have a lot of people, when they realize that you're trying to change or you're trying to grow or you're trying to level up, they'll purposely distract you. They do it on purpose. Okay? Because remember, especially, with the friendships and the financial abuse, if that friend that you're always taking care of, you're always giving your money, spending your money with, why would they want you to grow? Why would they want you to wake up? Why would they want you to realize that they're disingenuous towards you? Right. And in that video that I talked about, having no friends, and I said all of this stems from our childhood. All of this stems from being in schools where we're taught and we're influenced that, okay, we have to have friends. We have to have people in our corner. But what they fail to teach us and to tell us is that please select people that really want to be in our corner, that want to spend time with us. Don't pick friends just to say you have friends just because you want quantity versus quality. Because a lot of these friends, so-called friends, it's just quantity. They're not there for you when you really need them. So why waste your time and your energy on people or places or things that don't benefit you? As I said before, everything you do has to make sense. There's got to be a benefit for you. And if there's no benefit for you, you're wasting your time. And again, when I was growing up, and a lot of sayings that I heard in my household, and even my culture, they used to say time is longer than rope. Never, ever understood at the time when I was a kid what it meant. But being an adult, what it simply meant was like time just keeps going on and on and on and elapsing. Even a rope, as long as it might be, eventually comes to an halt, but not your time. Okay? Time just keeps going. The time waits on nobody. Okay? As I mentioned before previously, what you got yesterday, okay, you can't get it back today. Okay? You have to look forward to tomorrow. So, in essence, to end the financial abuse and to end people taking your kindness for weakness, you have to look forward to tomorrow. You have to literally sit and plan how you're going to break that cycle. One of the first things that I did when I realized that I wanted a change in my life, right? I literally got a piece of paper. And again, I'm old school. I don't care. I'm in my 40s. So I kind of do things back in the day. I know everybody's on their tablets and their computers and their phones and everybody has everything recorded there. But I basically wrote a letter to myself and I recorded all the things that I wanted to change and all, the things that I wanted to accomplish. But more so, I was, caught up with the change, right? I was caught up with getting change or having something different in my life. Yes, I realized I was financially abused, but I wasn't going to let nobody keep financially abusing me. I wasn't going to be at your mercy. I wasn't going to be at nobody's mercy. You were not going to take my kindness for weakness anymore. What does that mean? I wasn't going to beg you anymore. I wasn't going to try to borrow from you anymore. I wasn't going to let you know when I was down financially. No, I'm not. You know why? Because you laughed at me. You laughed at me. You made fun of me. You did all of those things. You never wanted me on your level. And what was so cruel about it was that I helped you. I did things for you, but you never wanted to. When I realized that, I said, you know what? No more. No more. I'm not letting that happen to me anymore. And so basically, I grabbed a hold of me. I, with my own time, I elevated my self-esteem. I didn't look for nobody to do anything for me anymore. Now, I'm not saying I never need any help. Let's not be ridiculous. Of course, I'm a human being. I live on the earth. Okay? I always need help. Right. But I stopped depending on people that wasn't in my corner. And the biggest one and the first one was I stopped depending on people financially. I looked and I found other ways to start, making my money. And I literally wrote it down on paper after I wrote my goals and my dreams and what I wanted to change. I started, putting down, things that I wanted to accomplish. I divvied up how I was going to start spending and how I was going to start saving my money. I looked for different avenues of how to make income. I didn't just stay at the same level. I didn't keep depending on people. Another thing that is, I stopped picking up the phone and I stopped calling people and I stopped letting them know when I was down. Whatever I was going through, financially, emotionally, I didn't let that be people's problem. Because let me tell you, people don't want to hear your problems. And quite frankly, I'm the same way. If you're dealing with something, you got to find somebody to talk to. I don't want to hear, I'm not interested, because I have my own life to live. And that's another thing that we have to start doing. We have to stop, as I said, letting people waste our time. Stop letting people waste your time. Stop letting people borrow money from you. In other words, stop lending people money. Stop buying relationships. Stop buying friendships. Stop doing all of that because it doesn't put you anywhere. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of your time. It's not a waste of their time, but it's a waste of your time because at the end of the day, they never reward you with anything good. You're taken advantage of. So basically, that's how, I wanted to answer that gentleman that left a comment. And the gentleman said that I've never heard about financial abuse before. He said, I've never heard of that topic. And in a way, it was kind of good because I think that video was literally like maybe 10 or 12 minutes. I think like a little bit over 10 minutes. So I couldn't really go deep into it like I wanted to about the three. Initially, I mentioned intimate, I mentioned friendship, I mentioned parent, children, and I also, talked about like if somebody employs you and they don't pay your money, how they use your services. Wasting your time. You got to go to court. You got to get attorneys. All that nonsense. You got to keep calling them. Again, they abuse you because they lied. But I really delved into the three, and that's why I wanted to expand on the three. Now, you might say to yourself, of the three that I talked about today, the intimate one, with the spouse or the partner, the friendship one, and the parent-child one, if there's any that's near and dear to me. No, not really. Those three that I zoned in on, as I said, I didn't really talk about the employment one in the video, which I'm gonna link onto this video after. I didn't, after this live is over, I didn't talk about that. I just talked about these three. The intimate one, the friendship one, and the parent-children one. Those are the ones that I felt were, very important. Those are ones that, like I said, that I've experienced in my own personal life. And, I could always back that up. As I said, the things that I talk about, they're real. These aren't made up. These aren't textbook. This isn't, what somebody told me. This is things that I've seen, okay, seen and experienced. So I know what's out there. But I'm happy to report, and I'm happy to say that at this point in my life, there's nobody or no one that is or can financially abuse me again. Never, never, ever, ever, ever. Okay? A partner can't financially abuse me. A friend can, and my parent can't financially abuse me. Nobody can do it to me. Okay? No one can do it to me. And this is a good feeling. This is the first time that I feel so much independence in my life. I feel good. And this is what I want for other people to feel good about it. This was one of the goals of me launching this, YouTube channel. The name of the channel is Team U Finance. Okay, my name is Mel. As I always say, if this is the first time you join me or joining me, I hope you could, subscribe. You could subscribe, listen to my other videos of topics that I talked about that were near and dear to me. But other than financial abuse and other things, like I'm at a point in my life where certain things can't shake me anymore because I've grown. I've grown through my faith. I've grown through experiences, and I've also grown through through understanding. All right? I know what it is now, and I'm more aware and I'm more alert. And I believe that I have a lot more wisdom than what I had before when, certain things were occurring. I was dealing with certain things. So these are things that you get better. Life gets better. Okay? It gets better 120%. You don't have to deal with it anymore, and you look forward to tomorrow. So people, with that said, if anybody doesn't have any questions or any comments and so forth, everybody was on the live, I thank you for joining me. I do appreciate your time and your attention. This was a topic that was near and dear to me. I mean, it was so dear to me that I ended up doing a part 2. And most of my videos that I filmed before, I don't really do part 2s. I just, give a long form. I just give like a 10 or 15 minutes, and my shorts be like 3-4 minutes, and I just say what I got to say, and I just end it. And I look forward to reading the comments. I do read the comments, and I answer them because, again, I like that engagement. I like knowing what people think, and I like knowing exactly like what you guys, the feedback. As I said, it was that gentleman that left a comment and said he had never heard of this before. That's what inspired me to do this. So it was really, really, really a good idea to do this. All right. Like I said, please comment, like, subscribe, give me a thumbs up and so forth. Put in the comments whenever this video starts going through and so forth. It's a regular long form video. After you listen to it, please give me a comment. Let me know if you have experienced, financial abuse. Let me know if it's something that you experienced and overcame. Let me know if you know somebody that went through it. Let me know if you were the person that taught them how to get above it and so forth. The biggest takeaway from today, how to overcome any form of financial abuse, is with your wisdom. Because once you realize and you know that it's occurring or it occurred or it happened to you, it could never happen again. Knowledge is the key. And with that said, people, have a wonderful, wonderful day. I thank you for your time.
He served 4 terms as mayor of Burlington, Vermont, 8 terms in the U.S. House, and was elected to the Senate in 2006.
This photo of a young Bernie Sanders being arrested in 1963 on the south side of Chicago in the midst of the civil rights movement.
I'm very proud of the fact that I'm the longest serving independent in the history of the United States. I caucus with the Democrats and always have.
Some people would be like, Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat, but he's speaking for the progressive wing of the party right now.
Billionaires should not be able to buy elections. And by the way, that's not just a progressive perspective. Conservatives understand that too.
Bernie Sanders drawing crowds of tens of thousands in his full-throated fight against oligarchy.
Trying to help Democrats find their footing among working class Americans and reclaim power next November.
This is What Now with Trevor Noah.
The one and only Botox Cosmetic Day is back. Buy one $50 gift card and get one free while supplies last. Terms and conditions apply. It's only on November 19th, so don't miss out. Then register and book your consultation by November 30th and get treated by December 12th for a chance to win $25,000. No purchase necessary to enter sweepstakes. For full details and official rules, see BotoxCosmeticDay.com. Join Allie and book a consultation today.
Baz, take a look and see it. My wife is going to yell at me. I'm being totally disheveled.
Yeah, that's funny.
I want to be half as good looking as Trevor. I don't want him to dominate the whole thing.
They account for age. It's like golf. We have a handicap. How long have you been in town?
Oh, about a half hour.
Oh, wow. Okay. How long are you staying in town?
Oh, about a day.
Okay. And
We're
then
doing an event with Mamdani tomorrow night.
Oh, that's exciting. Oh, that's really exciting.
And presumably we're doing a parade in the morning if it doesn't rain, so we'll see.
It said it was going to rain today, and then it didn't.